Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. My name's Adam, and I used to make videos about chronic illness, and I don't anymore because for the last couple of years I've been in a great spot and have been in a really good place with my health. But I'm back. I'm making a video today because unfortunately I'm experiencing the first flare that I've experienced in years, and just wanted to come back to the old YouTube channel and tell you guys about it. So for those of you that don't know, I mostly made videos about tinnitus because when I first got sick, that was kind of my most troubling symptom, my most annoying one. But I ended up getting a vestibular migraine diagnosis and also have POTS. That diagnosis was a little more complicated, but basically self-diagnosed and then found a doctor who treated me for it. And over the course of years, things got really good, and I stopped making videos on my channel. Part of the reason is I was just busy living my life, but the other part is I kind of felt like I needed to let go of the channel to let go of, I didn't want that to become my identity. And I don't want anyone to take that the wrong way, but I didn't want to be so consumed by it that I was never able to kind of move on from it and live my best life. And I'm not saying that people who are chronically ill because they're holding on to an identity of chronic illness. Everybody's very different. But for me and my healing journey, I think I needed to give my brain some space from thinking about that all the time. Because as you know, when you deal with chronic illness, it can really be all consuming. And so I stopped making videos, and my life's been really good. In fact, a couple of weeks ago, I did make a video that I never posted just about, hey guys, I'm doing great. I don't really, I can't remember the last time I had a migraine. And then wouldn't you know it, I'm making this video today. Last week I had a really bad migraine, and it's turned into like a flare that I still don't fully understand, where my POTS symptoms and my migraine symptoms have all just really ramped up. And so I wanted to hop on here and make a video and just kind of do a couple of things. The first is, if I'm being perfectly honest, making these videos is very cathartic for me, because for anyone who's dealt with chronic illness, you know that talking to friends and family about it is a weird thing. And they don't always understand it. They don't always want to understand it, or maybe they're just not capable of understanding it because they don't deal with anything like this. Also, I think that it's an emotional labor for people who love us. I think, when even those who want to support us, I think that when they have to hear about how we suffer, it can be really difficult for them, and they don't always know how to deal with that. And that's kind of an area that maybe I've grown in a little bit, is maybe some of that frustration is turned into empathy. The people who I interpreted as having a hard time talking to me about my issues with health, really, it was just kind of, they were having a hard time because they loved me a lot, and it was hard for them to see me suffer. So, but anyway, these videos are really cathartic for me. And in a lot of ways, like, this is going to be the world's worst YouTube channel if I keep making these videos, because I'm not going to try to make super smooth, sexy videos. It's just going to be me talking about what I'm doing to get better. And that leads me into the second thing, is I want to hop on here and make videos because I feel like my mindset is a lot different this time around. Hopefully this is a short flare. It's lasted a week. It doesn't feel short, but hopefully I can get out of this, fairly quick and get kind of back to that baseline that I was at. But I really, I want to document what I'm doing, and I want to document the things that I'm doing to stay positive, because while our mindset can't necessarily cure us, I think it can really help us. And so I know, as soon as I went through this flare again, I'm like, oh man, I started Googling positive POTS flare stories, or positive chronic illness flare stories, just because you want hope. And so I'm confident that this will be a hopeful story. I've gotten through this once. I think I can get through it again, but I want to document it. So I guess just like a little bit of backstory. Like I said, last Wednesday I got a migraine. I haven't experienced any symptoms. Sorry, I just dropped my phone. I haven't experienced any symptoms in a really long time, but I kind of felt like stress and fatigue coming on slowly over the last couple of weeks. And then I think my body just gave up. I've been in a really busy season at work. I own a business. My wife and I do. I have it's a small business, but for small business, we have a pretty large team, a team of about 18 people that I manage, 18 employees. And then we have about close to 500 clients that we serve weekly. And so it's a big thing. It's our whole life. And then I have 3 kids as well. And just between work life, family life, and church life, I think that I overdid it and let some old habits creep back in with diet and wasn't eating healthy, wasn't hydrating well. I think, I wasn't managing my stress well. I wasn't turning off from work like I should when I came home. Dealt with some stressful employee situations and was doing things. And this is a huge trigger for me, is like I was doing healthy things like going on weighted vest walks and taking ice baths, but I wasn't resting. And I'm pretty confident that my body just gave out. It said, listen, I can't do this. Like, if you're not going to rest, I'm not going to be able to function properly, and I'm going to force you to rest. So I just felt myself starting to get dizzy on Wednesday. That was 8 days ago. So it was Wednesday, maybe the 21st. It's May 29th now. And then that dizziness turned into a migraine, and then that migraine turned into nausea and light sensitivity. And anyway, fast forward, sorry, I just kicked my camera stand, but fast forward, that's where I'm at now. So the symptoms I'm experiencing are rapid heart rate when I stand up. So if I go from sitting to standing, my heart rate jumps anywhere from 30 to 40 beats per minute. And then I also am pretty sensitive to light. I've been wearing like blue light blocking glasses or regular sunglasses a lot, just to kind of take the edge off. I feel really nauseous. I feel sort of lightheaded, and I feel, maybe lightheaded's a better word than dizzy. But I do kind of feel dizzy too. In the beginning, I had some vertigo, but I don't have that anymore. Or at least, it's not pronounced, and I would say that those are my main symptoms. I've had some nerve pain too, in my kind of legs, like in my limbs, my legs and my arms. And, I've also had coat hanger pain, which I had forgotten about, but that is a really annoying symptom. Coat hanger pain, kind of like up through the back of your head and like your traps and your shoulders. And then there's symptoms that I still have that never went away. You guys heard, for anyone who's watched my videos, which is probably none of you at this point, because I've been so active on this or inactive on this channel, but tinnitus was a big complaint of mine. And I talked about like visual snow and stuff like that too. That stuff was all very real, and it's stuff that I deal with still, but I've habituated to it. It doesn't really bother me. But I would say, those symptoms for me don't make it hard to function day to day, but the dizziness and the nausea do, because typically, I'm on, and the sensitivity, I'm on my feet. I'm in loud environments because our business is a music business. We own a music school. So it's like super loud all the time, which I love, rock and roll, but it's, it's tough when you have a migraine. So anyway, that's kind of where I'm at. I think now I want to just document a little bit about what I've done and then what I'm going to do. So, Friday I went to my doctor. I wasn't on any medications when any of this happened. I had been on propranolol, and then before that I was on acetazolamide too. which is also called Diamox. And between acetazolamide and propranolol, I feel like I was kind of able to get control years ago. I'd also been on an SSRI that I can't remember the name of right now, really common one, but I haven't been on that for a long time. But I went back to my doctor on Friday and talked to him. He was really helpful, and he prescribed me propranolol. And then post-appointment, we also decided that I'm going to get back on acetazolamide. And so I haven't started the acetazolamide yet. I have started the propranolol. Haven't seen a ton of effects from it, but I am hopeful that it'll kind of compound and start working a little better as time goes on. And then I also had him prescribe me lorazepam, benzodiazepine for the vertigo. I generally don't like to take those, but it's kind of like an emergency medication. And then he also prescribed me some sumatriptan in case I get the migraine. So I haven't really taken that yet because I don't feel like the migraines fully stopped. But I have that in case I need it. So working with him, gonna go in for a physical and do some blood tests. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna, like, in addition to what I've already done, is I'm gonna rest. I've really got to learn to rest again. And so, I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice, but I think that my system's just worn out. I think I overdid it. I think you could call what I'm experiencing, burnout too. But I think my system has just had it. So I'm really trying to prioritize things like rest. So I'm lucky that I own my own business. I can work from home in the mornings. I don't have to go into the office, but I'm gonna work from home. I'm gonna go to bed early. I'm only gonna go into the office when I have to. I'm gonna hydrate like crazy. And then I'm gonna also switch to an anti-inflammatory diet. And I made that decision last night. I don't think that my eating habits have been horrible, but I think that they could be a lot better. And my body does feel very inflamed right now. So I'm also gonna meditate, and I'm gonna I have a device called a pulsetto that's like a vagus nerve stimulator, and I'm gonna work that into my routine. So that's kind of where I'm starting. I think the challenge is that I do run my own business, which that's not any more of it. Everyone has their own stuff. My unique challenge, maybe is a better way of putting it, is that I run my own business, and I have to be on for my customers and for my staff. And so I don't feel like since Wednesday, I don't feel like I've gotten any relief. And so I'm hoping that I can just get some relief. Even if I could get like 20% relief, I feel like dealing with this would be so much easier. But I just feel so nauseous and so lightheaded and so foggy. And just like, I don't want to stand. Like, it's just hard to stand. So if I could get a little bit of relief from that, that would be really helpful. But that's one of the unique challenges that, I have. I think one thing, and I want to start to wrap this up, it's a miracle if any of you are still watching this, but one thing that I feel like I'm in a better place with this time than when this kind of happened last time is that my mindset is a lot better. Meaning, I understand now something that I didn't understand 7 years ago, and that's that ultimately I can't control what happens to me. I'm not 100% sure why this happened, and I will never be. But what I can control is how I respond to it. And I know that if my body is worn down and if my nervous system is exhausted, then I'm not going to help myself by panicking. Now, don't get me wrong, the urge has been to have a panic attack has been very real. There's been a couple of moments since it started where I'm like, I feel like I'm going to lose control. There's been times where I've wanted to cry. There's been times where I'm just like, holy shit, I cannot believe this is happening again. There's been moments of overwhelm, and there's been moments of where I ask, is this going to last forever? And I just not going down any of those rabbit holes, and I'm just doing what I need to do to get better. So I'm influencing the things that I can influence. And another thing that I did is I scheduled an appointment with a therapist today, which unfortunately it was a new guy and he kind of sucked. He like talked 90% of the time, which I was super bummed about. So I won't be going back to him. But that's part of the deal, right? You try people out, they're not a good fit, you find someone new. That's not a woe is me statement. That's not me having a victim mentality. It is what it is. We'll find somebody new. It'll be okay. But anyway, that's where I'm at. This video is more for me than anyone else. I'm an external processor, but I do hope that you can find some peace in listening to this if you're dealing with similar things. And, I think that this is really challenging stuff to deal with. If you're going through that, but I have gotten to the other side of this before. And I'm confident that I can do it again with the right mindset and the right tools and the right attitude. So if you're going through this, like, let me know, talk to me in the comments, like, let me know what you're dealing with and let's chat, find me on Instagram, Adam Reed Wilson, REID, ADAMREIDWILSON, and like, let's chat. You're not alone. Like, my goal is like, this freaking sucks, but it is what it is. And we're going to get through it one way or another. And life ebbs and flows. Life gets harder sometimes and it gets easier sometimes. I'm thankful for the great seasons, and I've been in one, I feel like, for the last 3 years. I have a beautiful family, a great business, great friends. Like, I've been super blessed. And I'm going through a harder season right now, and I've gone through harder seasons before. But what I have now that I didn't have back then is perspective. And so I think that I'm going to get through this just fine. And I think you are too. I think we're going to be okay, guys. Hang in there. I'll give you guys updates, and we'll figure this out as we go. Have a great day.